All right, so homework today is 2-1 and 2-2 homework. So anyone have any questions for me? Let's do some because you guys are super quiet. So I don't know how you guys, let's do this one. You guys have no questions. We'll do 2.1 first, and then after that, I will talk about 2.2, and definitely we'll do 2.3. So this is a question that on 26 on 2.1. This is on 26 on 2.1, and then we do the 27 one after that. So this is 26. So this usually you learn there is a few equations of a line that you guys learn in this section. One is the famous one, y equals to mx plus b. This is the famous one, right? The other one is this is called the slope-intercept form because m is your slope and b is your intercept. So that's why the y equals mx plus b is your slope-intercept form. And then the other one is y minus y1 equals to mx minus x1. This one is called the point slope form because your y1 and x1 is a point and m is a slope. Okay, so this is a slope intercept, and then this is a point slope form. But this equation that you have on 26 is a new one. It's called x over a plus y over b equals to 1. This is actually your xy intercept form, where a in this case is your x intercept. That's why it's on below the x. And b in this case is your y intercept. Okay, so if you have a question like 26, it's very easy. If you have your x intercept is negative 3, 0, this is your x intercept, and your y intercept is 0, 5. So that means that this is your a and this is your b. So your answer in this case is straightforward. Is x over negative 3, because your a is negative 3, plus y over 5, your b is 5, and then this is equals to 1. Unfortunately, if you type this answer inside here in your box, they will mark you wrong. Is because they say use the intercept form to find the general form of the equations of a line with the given intercept. So this is not the general form of the equation. Okay, so if you remember the general form of the equations, I think it's going to be ax plus by plus c equals to 0. This is what we call as the general form of the equation. So you want to translate this into a general form. So what you need to do first is you have to find the LCD in this case. Okay, so this is so you got this. I also put this answer here, they mark you wrong. So the LCD is between these two denominator. So a 3 and a 5. So the LCD in this case is 15. You can ignore the negative. So in this case, we will multiply this by 5. You can multiply this by 3. And not forget that this is over 1. So you have to multiply this by 15. Okay, so this is how we change this into to get rid of all your fractions here. So then what happened is that now your denominator is all 15. You can cancel all your denominator out. So what you left here is a negative 5x plus 3y equals to 15. This is a multiply, not my negative, it's a multiply sign. And then what you do next is move this 15 over. So you will get negative 5x plus 3y minus 15 equals to 0. So this is your general form in this case. Okay, so let me type that in there and see if they take it or not. So it's negative 5x plus 3y minus 15 equals to 0. Before I continue to submit this, I just also want to point out to you guys that your online homework is very picky with your variables. So if these are all lowercase, so make sure your x and y here is lowercase. If you put your x and y as an uppercase, they will mark it wrong. Okay, so they're very case sensitive. So make sure that you will make sure you understand how we don't use, if it's lowercase, use lowercase. If it's uppercase, use uppercase. It's like your password. Okay, so 26 is not difficult. It's because your XY intercept is very straightforward. But 27 is the tough one, is because now your x-intercept is 2/7. It's a fraction now. So last time the number is not fraction, but this is a fraction. So as usual, we plug this number inside your A and B. So in this case, your A in this case is 2/7. And then B in this case is a -2. And this is equals to 1. So this is question 27 on 2.1. So so last time, if you have a nice whole number like this, it's very easy because then you find an LCD. But this is the very tricky part. The tricky part here is because of him. Okay, the fraction here. So we want to make this fraction as a normal fraction. This is what we call as a complex fraction, which is fractions over fractions. So we want to make it as normal fraction like what we have in 26. So if you recall that, if you do this x over 2/7, this is the same thing as x divided by 2/7. And as you know that division can change into multiplication, and you need to flip this fraction, 7/2. So this is actually 7x/2. So this complex fraction that you have here can be written down as 7x/2. And then because you have the plus and minus here, so this will become a -y/2. And then this is equals to 1. So this question 27, the difficult part is this fraction part here. So you do need to know how to change it to become a normal fraction here. And then now back to the LCD, and this is very easy. The LCD in this case is 2. So since this is already have 2, this already have 2, this is good, but this is over 1. So you will multiply this by 2 here. So now your denominator is all 2. You can cancel your denominator out. So what you left in this case is 7x minus y equals to 2, because the 1 times 2 is 2, and then you move your 2 over. So your answer in this case is 7x minus y minus 2 equals to 0. So this is your final answer in this case for question number 27 here. So I think the bottom part here, you guys know how to do it. It's just the beginning of this part that a lot of students having questions. Anyone have any questions on 2.1 here? Anyone? Either you can ask me or you can put in the chat room. Anyone have any questions on 2.1? Don't be shy, because this is a time that you ask me all the questions that you need. I'm doing this because none of you asked me. So I'm 7x minus y minus 2 equals to 0. Anyone have any questions? 8 and 9, is that 2.1 POW? 8 and 9 on 2.1? Yeah, okay. So 8 and 9. So yep. So we did 26 and it was 8 and 9. Go back up to 8 and 9. 8. All right, 8. So for to do question 8, again, this is 2.1. This question is asking us to find the slope and the y-intercept and then sketch this line. So this is 16x minus 6 equals to 0. Now, if you look at this equation only have x variables. Usually, an equation have an x and a y variable. So if equation have an x variable, then so if you have x and y variable, then the line is either going upward or it goes downward. This is what happens when you have if you have both x and y. If you just have an x variable, then your line is a directly vertical line. And if you have just a y variable, then this is a horizontal line. So since this equation only have an x variable, so we know that it will be a vertical line. So we solve for x here. So you move the 6 over. So 16x equals to 6. So x in this case will be 6 over 16, which if you reduce by 2, you become 3 over 8. Okay. If you have a slope, if you have xy, if your line going like this, means your slope is positive. If you're going down, the slope is negative. If you're going horizontal, your slope is exactly 0. But if you're going a vertical line like this, your slope in this case is undefined. So we know that this slope in this case will be undefined, or DNE in this case, okay? And the y-intercept. Now, as you know that for this, your y-intercept will be at B, right? Same thing here, the y-intercept will be at B. If you have a horizontal line, the y-intercept will be at B, which is the same as your y value. But unfortunately, if you have a vertical line, which is undefined, this line will never cross on your y-intercept. So your B in this case will be also DNE. Okay. So do not forget that when you have, if you have an x on just on the variable x, your slope and your y-intercept, both of them are DNE in this case. Okay. And it is going to be a vertical line. So and it's a positive 3 over 8, so your graph will be this graph. Okay, so this is how we do question number 8 here. Question number 9 is kind of the same thing. Question number 9 is this time it's just only y. So on question number 9, you just only have 6y plus 7 equals to 0. So this one will be more likely to be like this. Okay. So again, we solve for y in this case. So 6y equals to -7. Yes, you can, class, if you guys do this in the test, you do not need to do like add 6 and add 6. No, you can stop doing that now because right now you do not need to show me this work. You just do like what I did here. You just move the 7 over, become negative, and then become -7 over 6. So in this case, since this is the same as this kind of graph that I mentioned, so your slope in this case will be 0. Your y-intercept will be the same as your y value. So in this case, it's -7 over 6. So it will be 0, -7 over 6. And then the line is a horizontal line at negative. So it will be this one. This is a -7 over 6, which is -1 point something. So so it's a horizontal line. So this is a question. This is how we do question 9. How are you okay here? How? So make sure you know that this is called a special case. So if you have only x variables, this is what happens to your slope and your y-intercept. If you have just only the y variable, this is what happens to your slope and your y-intercept. And if you have both x and y, then you will have to you have to change it to become y equals to mx plus b. So then you know your slope and your y-intercept. Anyone have any questions on 2.1? Ask me any questions you want, because this is the time that if you have any questions, you ask me. Anyone on 2.1? Anyone that have questions before I move on to 2.2? Nope, you guys good in 2.1? I think you guys okay with graphing because I teach you how to graph. Are you guys okay with the word problems? You guys okay with the word problems? Right. So if you need help, just ask me after class. Those who are the quiet ones. We're going to talk about 2.2. This is where you talk about functions. 2.2 is about functions. Questions on 2.2 that you need help with?
Number 12.
12?
Yeah.
12, right? This one?
Yeah.
We did this already in the last week.
Okay.
I can practice another version of it. So again, we did this last week. So please check if you haven't watched the YouTube videos, make sure you watch it again. And this is actually found at the very end here. So who is asking me that question? Is that Karishma?
Yeah, I just had a question on part C.
Yep.
That's what confused me.
Yep. I'm thinking about the same thing too. So part C in this case is asking you to find what is fx minus 3. So so in this case, you just need to replace all your x become x minus 3. So fx minus 3 in this case is the absolute value of x minus 3 over by x minus 3. Okay. So the first thing you need to know about the part C here is you have to figure out this inequality. This inequality is figured out by taking your denominator and you set it equals to 0. So that if you solve for x here, x in this case will be 3. And the reason why that you need to do this for this inequality here is because, and why we set equals to 0 is because your denominator cannot equal to 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. So that's the reason why, or does not exist. So that's the reason why that we will want to avoid 0 in the denominator. So in this case, and we make it equal to 0, kind of like a domain case. So if you know the domain for this case, so this 3 will be the one that we're talking about here. So we're gonna take 3 and 3. So for the first one is where you do x is less than 3. So you have to give a number that is less than 3. So we will do 2. So what you do is you plug 2 inside this equation and see what you get. So you will get 2 minus 3, your x is 2 here. So it's absolute value of 2 minus 3 over by 2 minus 3. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 2 minus 3 here is negative 1. So this will give us a negative 1. So we know that when x is less than 3, your answer will be a negative 1. Next, we will do the x is greater than 3. So now we plug in a value here that is bigger than 3. I will use 4. Okay. So I plug 4 inside this x in this case. I will get absolute value of 4 minus 3 over by 4 minus 3. So the absolute value of 4 minus 3 is 1. And absolute value of 1 is still 1. And then 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is still get 1. So this will still get 1 in this case. So this is how we do this kind of question in part C. Karishma, you got here? You okay with that one?
Yes.
So usually these two answers are, if it's less than, usually it's a negative 1. If it's a greater than, usually it's 1, because this answer for top one is 1 and negative 1. Because if you have a positive number, you get a positive 1. If you have a negative number, you get a negative 1. So that's why that's how you figure out why this is negative or positive 1. This 3 came from the x minus 3. You make it equal to 0 and you solve for x and you get this number. All right. Anyone have any questions in this case on 2.2 beside 12C here? Anyone have any questions? You can either ask me or again type in the chat room. Do you guys know how to do the function piece, like determine whether equation represent y as a function of x? Does anyone know how to do it? Or you just simply like mini, mo because you got 50-50 chance, yes or no? Does anyone know how to do a function piece in this case? If I give you an equation, how do you figure out functions? Anyone?
Can you show us one?
Okay, good. See, now so in order for us to figure out if this is a function, what is the function definition? The function definition says that every x can have only one y value. So what does that mean is that if you plug x a number, let's say you plug x equals to 5, any number you want into the equation, your y value, when you solve for y, you can only have one solution. If you get one solution, then it is a function. But what happens when you plug 5 into your x and your y has 2 plus solution? That means more than one solution, 2, 3, 4. Then this is no longer a function. So this is how we figure out functions by using equations. So example is like question number 5. So if you have 5x plus 3y equals to 2, so you can plug in any value you want for x. Can someone give me a number you're gonna plug in for x here?
3.
Anyone? 3, okay, you plug in 3 over here. So you get 15 plus 3y equals to 2. So when you solve this, do you have one solution or do you have 2 or more solutions here when you solve for y?
Just one.
Just one. Yep. This one you will get one solution. I don't care about the, I mean, you get one answer, right? So that's why this is a function. Okay, so this is a function. But if you look at question number 6, this is how we figure. It's not that difficult to figure out a function actually. You just plug in any number you want. X minus 3 squared plus y squared equals to 25. Okay, now let's plug in a number here. What number do you want to plug in here? What number are you going to plug in? X equals to?
You can do 2.
2, sure. Just plug 2 inside here. So in this case, you will get 2 minus 3 is negative 1 squared plus y squared equals to 25. So this is 1 plus, because negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Y squared equals to 25. And then when you move the 1 over, we subtract 1 here. So we're kind of solving for y. So you get 24. And how do we get rid of this square so that the y is by itself? We take the square root. But every time when you take a square root, you will have a plus and minus. And this plus and minus give us one answer or 2 plus answer. How many answers you have here when you do this? You will have how many answers? Because of the plus and minus, you have 2 answers. Yep. So is this a function? This is not a function. So in this case, for this case, it's not a function. So I want to point out to you guys that there is a shortcut to do this. The shortcut is if you have, I'm showing you the shortcut here. Look at, if you're talking about y function, this is the correct way to do it. You plug your x in there, but there is a shortcut. The shortcut is very easy. Is if your y is having a square of 4th or any even power, then this is no longer a function. Okay. So, but if your y has an odd power, then this is a function. Okay. Yep. And then next thing is absolute value. So because absolute value give you two answers, so if you have any absolute value, this is also not a function. Because you have two answers in this case. Okay, absolute value can be one is positive and one is negative. So that's why you get it's not a function. So so you just look at your y variable and see what power we have. For example, here is this one has a 1 power, so it is a function. This is a power 2, it's not a function. This one is y power, it is a function. This one has an absolute value, so absolute value means you got two. One can be positive, one can be negative. This is not a function. So so you do not need to do the correct way is doing what I just teach you. Put in the number in there. Oh, actually, this no, this is a function. I'm sorry. We can do it again. So let's do number 8. So if you're not sure about it, you can just do what I just did beginning. So plug in a number for x. Let's do 5. I don't care, any number you want. So absolute value of y is equal to 6 minus 5. So absolute of y equals to 1. Oh yeah, this is not a function because y in this case can be positive 1 and y in this case can be negative 1. So you got two answers here. Yep, this is not a function. Sorry. So that's why so this is not a function. You guys okay here? Questions you guys have on 2.2? Do you
Yes,
guys know how to do question like number 13? It's very similar to 14 here.
I have a question about the graph, how we can fill out. I forgot.
I'm sorry?
The graph, how we can fill the graph.
On 2.1?
I don't know
Okay.
which one because I cannot log
It's
in
on 2.1. Yep, I did this in your like this one.
Yeah,
Again, I did this on the previous Zoom, so I will show it to you again one more time. So you probably haven't watched the last week Zoom yet. I did this last week. So in this case, how do we graph this? 0, 8 is your y-intercept, right? So first thing first, you put on the straight line. So double click here, because when you click here, this is the line with 2 arrows is what we're looking for. This is a ray, this is a line segment. So this is the one that we do. So 0, 8 is right over here. So you click a point. You need 2 points here. And your slope is -1. -1 means you go down 1 over 1, right? -1 means you go down 1 and then you over 1. You click one more point and here is your graph. That's it.
Okay.
So when you look at when you want to check if it's a correct coordinates, you just click on this line 1. The first coordinate is 0, 8, and then this coordinate is 2, 6 because you go down go one down and then right over 1. So this is a correct one. So this is how we draw the graph here. So you only need 2 points. You make sure you click on the first point, which is your y-intercept usually, and then you do your slope, and then you click on the next point, and then they will automatically draw your graph for you. Questions on 2.2? Anyone have any questions on 2.2? Domain. You guys know how to find domain? This is all important. You are asked in your test. Do you guys know domain? Anyone what's a domain? Anyone know what is a domain is? Anyone know what is domain here stands for? It's all importance. Anyone domain?
Isn't that like the maximum minimum height, is it?
Maximum and the minimum of the
X, is it?
X, yes. Domain is the maximum and the minimum. So usually we give them a parenthesis. What is the minimum value can you have and what is the maximum value can you have? So minimum first and then maximum. And this is for your X value. Okay. Range, yep,
That's for the y, the minimum
Yes.
max.
yes, range is the same thing. Minimum and maximum for the y value. And don't forget that this one can be parentheses and can be bracket. Do you guys know the difference between a parentheses and the brackets?
Isn't the bracket like where it ends? If it
Both of
doesn't go
them. Mhm.
it ends, it doesn't keep going infinite, whereas the
No, both of them ends. Yep, they all ends. So the bracket one means it's including the endpoints. That means that's equal, less than or equal to. This one is only less than or greater than, it exclude the endpoint. In your normal algebra class, usually we use open circle for this case and closed circle. Remember that in your algebra 1 or algebra 2 in high school. But we don't use open circle and closed circle. We use parentheses and brackets. Okay. Let's talk about domain in this case. If your domain is a polynomial functions, does anyone know what is a polynomial functions? Can someone give me an example of a polynomial functions? Anyone? A polynomial functions? Do you guys know what's a polynomial? Is number 19 a polynomial function? Question number 19, is this polynomial?
is it when it has that squared at it? Like
It doesn't matter if it's square or not. So this is a polynomial will be something like 5. 5 is a polynomial function. That means you have terms on it. It can be monomial, it can be binomial, it can be trinomial. It doesn't matter to be square. It can be power 3, it can be power 5, whatever power you want here. So if you have such thing, if you have a polynomial functions that we have here, then your domain in this case will be all real numbers. Shortcut for all real numbers is a capital R with a line. If you want to put this in an interval notation, is negative infinity to positive infinity. Means that, what does that mean here is you can plug any x numbers you want from negative to positive infinity. You can plug negative 2.5 here, a square root of 10, pi, whatever number you want. If you plug in here, you will end up with a number. Okay, so that's why
it doesn't work with fractions, does it?
It does work for fractions. X, you can plug fractions that you can plug 1/2 in here, sure. Yeah, you still can get an answer, right? You can plug any number you want. You can even plug square root of 2 in here. You can even plug pi in here if you want to plug pi. You just get irrational numbers, means decimals that's nonstop. You know.
Okay.
You still get a number. That's why the domain here is all real numbers. Okay. That means you can plug any number you want for your x. What happens if you have a rational function? What is a rational function? A rational function means that it is fraction. So you'll be like 2x over by x plus 5, something like that. Okay. So, or anything that looks fraction that have x on it. So not like 5/3 is polynomial. But if you put an x somewhere in the fraction here, like here, then it will become rational function. So what is your domain in this case? Your domain in this case is all real numbers except x. Your denominator cannot equal to 0. Your denominator is equal to 0. So if you want to find what is the domain for this rational function, it will be all real numbers except x equals to what? So again, like what we did last time, as what Karishma asked me about the absolute value, you just need to put this equals to 0. And x in this case.
So
Eric?
if x equaled 5, then that would equal 0 and it wouldn't be.
Yep.
Good.
So what happens here is that this answer means that you can plug whatever x value you want here, you will still get an answer. The only number you cannot plug in here is 5, because once you plug 5 in here, you get an undefined answer. Okay. So if you think about number line, the number line is everything you can. The only number you cannot use is 5. This is the one that you cannot pick. So how do you write this in the interval notation like this? Okay. So this means it goes from here to there, and then this goes from there to there. So if you want to write this in the interval notation, it will be from this one is -infinity to 5. Because this is from don't forget, always minimum then the maximum. So -infinity to 5, and then union 5 to infinity. So this is how so this is for this part, and this is for this part. And then you need the union next to it. So this is the domain for the rational functions. And the next one we have is square root. Okay. If you have if your root is an even root, then you talk about this. But what happens if your root is an odd root? So if you have an odd root, then your domain is going to be all real numbers. So if you have a cube root, 5th root, 7th, 9th, and 11th root, all the odd roots, then your domain is all real numbers. But if you have an even root, like square root, 4th root, 6th root, and so on, then your domain in this case is you take the one inside the root, whatever inside this root, make it greater than or equal to 0. So I put an X. You know what? I'm not going to draw this. Doesn't sound professional. Let's do the next here. So this means your X has to be greater than or equal to 0. The reason why is because this is your domain here. The reason why is because for any square roots, can you hold on for a second? Rod, the foot is here. So you cannot have negative numbers inside. So you can only have 0, because square root of 0 is 0. This is still good. Square root of 1 is still good, but you cannot have a negative number in that. This is no good. So that's the reason why that your domain in this case is whatever inside greater than or equal to 0. For example, is square root of x minus 4. So what is the domain in this case? The domain in this case is x minus 4 greater than or equal to 0. So you take whatever inside this square root, we call it the radicand, greater than or equal to 0, and then you solve for x. So you move the 4 over. So this is x is greater than or equal to 4. So this is the domain for a square root. And for this case, if you want to do it as an interval notation like what we have over here, this means that you start at 4 and then you go to the infinity. But since there is an equal to sign, so you do not use parentheses, you use bracket, means including. So this is go from 4 to infinity. So there's a difference between parentheses or brackets. Means you if you cannot include it, you use parentheses. If you include it, like this case, you use brackets here. So if you combine, so this is a domain for those, and if you combine a rational with a square root, for example, if you have 2x over by square root of x minus 5. So if your square root is the denominator here, then your domain in this case, where's my mouse? Let's see. Hey, is my mouse? Your domain in this case will become, you take this discriminant, or this the denominator, make it greater than 0. So last time, if you just have a square root, you make it greater than or equal to 0. But for just a square, if you have a fraction like this, you cannot put equal to. So does anyone here know why we cannot use equal to in this case? Cannot be equal to 0. because of a rational. Remember, rationals is that you say what? Everything besides 0. So you cannot make this become 0. So that's why the equal sign cannot be here. So when you solve for this, this is x is greater than 5. And it looks very similar to what we have on the square root. But in this case, you have to use parentheses. So be careful with what you have here, because this is no equal here, and this one with the equal. Equal, you use brackets. No equal, you use parentheses. So you guys know, this is how we figure out your domain, and it's very, very important, this page. So if someone wants to take a picture of this, or if you are writing notes, this is the notes that you need to do, okay? So you can take a picture of this if you want to. So, so this is how we figure out domain. So can someone tell me what will be the domain for question number 19? Anyone know what's the domain for number 19? Anyone know what's the domain for number 19? Question 19, what's the domain here? A, B, C, D, or E? Mercedes, Eric?
Real numbers x.
It's just all real numbers of x because it's a polynomial function. Yes. How about question number 20? I want you guys to do it now. Everyone do question 20. Private message me. You know how to private message me, right? Don't put it everyone to me, David Liu. Just tell me for question 20, is that A, B, C, D, or E? Just tell me A, B, C, D, E. Okay, yep. No, that is wrong, Paul. That is wrong. This is this one. This is this example. Question 20 looks like this one. Yes, Bohar is correct. Kara is correct. Yep, go ahead and type it in. Oh, you guys type it to everyone. Bohar and Kara, you had a private message me. So yes, question 20 is a fraction, is a rational function. So what you do is you have to say your answer in this case is all real numbers except this denominator equals to 0. So your denominator in this case is y plus 9. So if you set y plus 9 equals to 0, you get y equals to negative 9. So that's why your answer in this case will be D here. How about question number 21? What is the domain for question number 21? Again, Bohar, Kara, make sure you private message me. Don't message to everyone because they know the answer already. Is that A, B, C, D, E? Yep, Eric is correct. Make sure you send me a private message, not to everyone. Mercedes, are you there? Karishma? Bohar? This is important, I'm telling you, because it's in your test. When you ask me what is coming up in your midterm, in your test in November, I say, this is one of them. And a lot of you will be like, yes, my Mercedes, that is correct. Just tell me A, B, C, D, or E. So you don't need to type in the whole thing. No, Bohar, that is wrong. Try again. Yep, that is correct, Paul. Karishma is correct. Yep. No, Bohar, that is wrong. Kara, that is also wrong. Justine, are you here? Jesse? Justine and Jesse, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not B. Don't forget, for question number 21, you see it's a cube root. So cube root means it belongs to this one because your power is your index is a power is an odd index. So your domain in this case will be what? Yeah, Boha, that's correct. All real numbers. Yep. Right. Now this one is tricky. So we're gonna do this together. Number 22. Okay. So I'm gonna do 22 here. So I have no root. So remember last time when you do the square the fraction one, this example that I give it to you is going to be in here, right? This is where, unfortunately, this is the square root in your denominator, but this time the square root is in your numerator. So if the square root is in your numerator, then it's a different story. So you do not, it's different from what we have here. Okay, I think x plus 3 plus x, sorry. So how do we do this kind of questions? How to find the domain for this when you have a square root in the top? So again, you need to figure out the domain. The domain here is this one cannot be 0. So that means x in this case cannot be -3. So this is one of the domain. Because I moved the 3 over, that's why I get -3. And if you remember this, this also says that this has to be greater than or equal to 0 because of a square root. Okay, so in this case, x plus 3 is greater than or equals to 0. So x in this case is greater than or equals to -3. So you got these two domain here. One of them says that it cannot be -3. And one of them says it has to be including 3 to infinity, which is this one. So since you got one that it cannot include and one say it can include, so the domain in this case will be not including it. So if you ask me that who has more authority, like orders of operations, you know that exponents come first, then addition and subtraction, right? So here, if you have the one that is not include and one is include, which one has the more authority or more power here? The one does not include has more power. So that's the reason why that this case, for the domain case, we will use the parentheses here. So your answer in this case is x is greater than -3. So for this case, your answer in this case will be the last one, all real numbers such that x is greater than -3 in this case. Okay. So so be careful with this question 22 because it can be very tricky, especially when you have a square root on top. Okay. If I change this question 22 to become something like this is even tough. And I want you to find what is the domain here. So if you kind of stuck with domain, usually the best way is to draw me a number line and then figure out what x value you cannot have. Okay. First thing first is this one, if you make it equal to 0, you find out that this x is equal to 3. So that means that at 3, you cannot take it. So any numbers work except 3. But on the numerator, you have to make this greater than or equal to 0. So what you have in this case is x is greater than or equal to -3 because you move the 3 over. So for this top domain, it is go from -3 all the way to this side, because this means x is greater than or equals to -3. So if you combine these two together, what is your domain in this case? Anyone? Anyone know what's the domain in this case? This is tough. I just changed it to a little bit than question 22. What number you think x can take? Can x take -3? Can you take -3 for x? Yes, we can. Can we take -4? No, we cannot, because -4 is not inside this domain here. How about -2? Yes, because the line includes. 0? Yes, because 0 is here. How about 3? Can you take 3? No, you cannot.
Take it greater to -3.
So it'll be -3 till 3. And then what happened is 3 to infinity. So what happens here is because there's a little bump here on the 3, so you cannot include it. Then after that, you have to, then you go from 3 to infinity. So what happened is that if you cannot include something, you have to make a little parenthesis here. So if you want to write this in the interval notation, your domain in this case will be -3 till 3, parenthesis. This is bracket because it includes. This one because it doesn't include. And then 3 to infinity. So this is for this piece, and this is for that piece. So that's why I told you you have to be careful with the domain, especially when you have a square root on top, if you have a fraction. But if your square root is in the bottom, then it's easy. Then you just take x is greater than 0, if you have such case. But for this case, you have to figure out. Do you know why I concentrate so much, put so much time on domain here? It's because from this section onwards, even in trig and calculus, we'll be talking about domain nonstop. So you will see domain almost every section from this onward. So if you struggle with this domain piece, I will tell you that you'll be in big trouble in the future, because the next few chapters all about domain here. So that's the reason why that you need to know your domain. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on 2.2? You guys okay with this 23?
I got a question. On problem 27 and 28.
The last 27, 28 on 2.2?
Yes.
Thank you for asking that. Again, 27, let's do 27 first. 27 will be also in your midterm. I will tell you what's in the midterm already, right? The domain is in the midterm. 27 is in the midterm. 28 will not be in the midterm. It's a bit tough. 27 is called a difference of quotient. Thank you for asking that. I don't know who did. Kara, is it Kara asking me that? Ooh.
Yeah, someone asked it, and I have the same question too.
Very good. Yep. Good. So this is what we call as a difference of quotient. The difference of quotient is given us by fx plus h. Why there's a cube in here? Minus f of x. Usually it's just a square, not a cube, over h.
Yeah,
so,
for the watch, they show a squared also,
yep.
so it didn't help too much.
So in the test, yep, in the test it will be a square. That's why when I look at it, so it's like, why is a cube in here? So in the test, it will be a square. So I would recommend for you guys, please watch it because it will be in the square form, not going to be a cube form. Okay.
Yeah.
So so in your test, it'll be square, not cube. So what we do here is first you have to figure out what this is. So we do fx plus h first. What is fx plus h? Fx plus h means that all your x will change to become x plus h. So all this plug inside here. Remember last time when I've called you to find f3, what is f3 is? F3 means you put all your x become 3, right? So if I want you to do fx plus h, means all your x become x plus h. So you got x plus h. Oh, this is a cube. Sorry, I will correct that. This is a cube. Again, in your test, I won't ask for square. Ask for cube. I will ask for square. So what you need to do first is you have to cube this fellow, this cube. This cube is the same thing as multiply by itself 3 times. So you have to FOIL it first. So you have to FOIL this for 2, and then whatever you get, the result, you have to FOIL with x plus h. So when you FOIL this, you will get x squared plus xh, because x squared plus xh. And then you also add another xh. So in this case, you got 2xh, because you got xh1, and then you got the second xh here, and then plus h squared. And then you also, then whatever you, once you finish foiling with this, you have to, the results of that, you have to FOIL again with the x plus h, the third time, because it's a cube. That's why cube is half. Usually square, this is you didn't FOIL so many times. So this one you have to FOIL out. So x squared times x become x cubed. X squared times h become x squared h. 2xh times x is 2x squared h. 2xh times h is 2xh squared. And then the h squared will become h squared times x become x squared h. xh squared, sorry. Oh my God, there's a lot of h. And h cubed. So this is the FOIL for this case. And looks like then we have to combine like terms. These 2 terms are like terms. These 2 terms are like terms. So when you combine them, it becomes x cubed. This is a 1. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 3x squared h. And then this is also 1. So 2 plus 1 is also 3. And then h cubed. So this is just him. So it's just a part of it. And this is just this. Don't forget, you still have to do a lot more. But what you do next is you have to multiply this by 3. So you have to take all this, multiply by 3, because you got a 3 in front. So what you got here is, so distribute this by 3. You will have 3x cubed plus 9x squared h plus 9x h squared plus 3h cubed. So this is just this case. And then here you have to distribute your -9. So you get a -9x minus 9h. And none of these are like terms. And this is just for him. And then the next one we need to do is this one. And this one is not tough, because what's the meaning of a negative of f of x? It means that you take this f of x and you put a negative on it. And what happens when you put a negative on it? You change all your sign. So the 3x cubed will become -3x cubed. The -9x will become +9x. So this is the negative f of x. So you just need to change all your sign of the original function. So what you need to do here is you have to take all this that you have,
And
all
cancel it out.
over by h. Yes, it will be canceled out. So this is what it means. You take this one, which is the blue one, and then you take the green one, and then all over by h, and then you start canceling. So the 3x cubed can be canceled. The 9x also can be canceled. And what you notice here is they all have h terms here. So so you divide, because you have an h here, so you divide every single one of these by h, which is the same as this one. Okay. So what is your answer in this case? Your answer in this case will be this h will cancel. So you get 9x squared. This h will be canceled, but you have square, so you have one left, so you will get positive 9xh. This h will cancel, but this is cubed, so you will get square. So you get 3h squared. And the last one, the h and h here will exactly cancel, you get negative 9. So this is the answer for question number 27. As I told you, it will come in your test, but in your test, I won't give you power 3, I will give you power 2, which is the one that you watch in the video. Okay, so it won't be that difficult. This is tough. Okay, you guys all right here? Why you need to learn this? So you're asking me. This is what you will learn in calculus. So this is like a calculus question. So if you go to calculus, this is called differentiation. So so if you're going to calculus 1, when you learn differentiation, this is what the question looks like. Okay. Anyone have any questions before we go on to the next one? You guys all right with again? Do not worry about 27 because the only thing I'll come in the test is not cube, it's square, like what you see in your videos. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one, which is the 28. You guys good here? You guys need to take pictures or anything? I'll just leave it here for a minute so you guys can take a picture with your cell phone or something else. This is the answer. You guys good? Okay, I'm going to move on to 28 here now. So number 28 is given us by ft is 1 over t plus minus 6. So in this case, the question is asking us to find what is ft minus f5 over by t minus 5. So what you need to do in this case is, we know ft already. Ft is this one. So this is ft in this case is 1 over t minus 6. f5, we just need to substitute t to become 5. So in this case, it will be 1 over 5 minus 6. Which is 1 over negative 1, which is negative 1. So this is negative 1. And then this is all over by t minus 5. So what we need to do first here is definitely change these two negative to become positive. So this is a positive, it's a double negative. And then next, because this is what we call, again, a complex fraction, so you have to find the LCD for the top one. So this is over 1. So the LCD for this case will be t minus 6. So this is already have t minus 6. So what you need to do here is you have to multiply this with t minus 6. So what we have in this case is your denominator is t minus 6. Your numerator is 1 plus, because this has become plus. If you distribute this, you will get t minus 6. And then you divide this with t minus 5. So I changed this to become division sign like that. And then again, you cannot cancel. Please don't cancel this because of the plus here. So you can combine like terms here. So when you combine like terms, you will get t minus 5. And then t minus 6 plus 1 minus 6 is minus 5. The division will change to become multiplication. This is over 1, so you have to flip it. 1 over t minus 5. And what happens next is you cancel. So the t minus 5 can cancel because they are they're top and bottom. They are like terms. So your answer in this case is 1 over t minus 6. So this is your answer in this case. The reason why you get 1 is because 1 times 1 is 1, and then the denominator is t minus 6 in this case. So this is how we do question number 28, which is a bit less work than 27 for sure. Okay. You guys all right here? Questions? So as I told you before, in your midterm, you will get question 27, but not with the cube. Will be square, x squared instead of x cubed. You won't get x cubed for that case because it's a bit more hard. And then also in your midterm, you will get the domain. Remember the domain that we did early on for square root or something like that, or fraction. So make sure you guys know how to find your domain because we will be talking about domain a lot in the future. So so this is end of the Zoom class here. So don't forget your homework for tonight is 2.1 and 2.2. And then 2.3 and 2.4 is the homework for next week. I will post some old videos in D2L. I also will upload this in D2L so you can rewatch it again. So please watch my Zoom videos if you're not coming to my Zoom meetings because it will help you with the homework. And you do not need to watch the whole thing. You can skip. Okay, it's a 1 hour long. I know you can skip to the part that you think, oh, this one I think is the same question that I need help with. So I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna stop recording here first. So does anyone here has any questions for me? Stop sharing and stop